Welcome back. Welcome back. Talking a little Knicks Sixers preview here. Finally know who the Knicks are going to be playing, and they get the reward, I guess, of playing the Sixers, which is going to be a grueling series. We're going to go through some stats, just basically for each team, what's the advantage and disadvantage for both sides, some key matchups and things to look out for, and of course, our game picks. Current standings: I am 3-0, picking the playing game. Slim is 0-3. Finn is 1-2, just in case anyone was wondering. So we'll start
Hardo.
we'll start off. I mean, just we'll talk briefly about this Miami game and what we saw because Miami plays a similar style to how the Knicks do. Miami plays a little bit more zone, which I think the Knicks should do if they're going to try and limit Joel Embiid, because that seemed to be the answer come playoff time. Is if you can limit Joel Embiid, it's going to help your team a lot, and you have to put the onus on the other guys to beat you. And tonight, Nicholas Batum went fucking berserk. So the Knicks are going to have to do the same thing. Thibodeau's a good coach for all his crazy minutes and all that stuff. He is a good coach and he will make some adjustments. I don't think he's as good as Spo, but he's going to be able to make some adjustments and try and limit Joel Embiid from being Joel Embiid, quite frankly.
Definitely. I mean, the Knicks just have to collapse on the glass. They can't let Joe go in there and do his thing, especially repeatedly beating them in over and over and over again. You know, Maxi's going to have his nights. Oubre had a great game tonight. He's going to do that 2 or 3 games on the series. So you need that to be the reason you lose. Like you said, like you got to have other guys beat you. It's almost always like that with a top heavy squad like that. Even if Maxi beats you, like you're kind of cool off that.
But y'all know who I'm rocking with. I don't even gotta say too much, but does Philly have what it takes to stop Jalen Brunson and be able to get to his squad that can play pretty well? You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking about OG Anunoby in a matchup between Kelly Oubre and him. You know, I'm thinking about you know New York's defense and how they they can trap and be physical. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, 3 and D guys who we said are amongst that. Like,
Upper echelon.
yeah, Derek White. Shout out to all the cats. But New York definitely has something special. And Philly, I didn't think Philly would beat Miami tonight, so I'm kind of at a loss for words. But I believe in the Knicks. Bing bong. You know what I'm saying?
Like the Heat defense is very good. The Knicks is also, I think, could be even a little bit better. I think just because of the fact that they're rebounding. I mean, offensive rebounding is the Knicks' strong suit. Like they just constantly have guys crashing. Like Josh Hart just comes in every possession. You'll get 2, 3 putbacks from Josh Hart every single game, and that's going to be one of those series where you really have to be attentive and be on your guy at all times because those plays where Josh Hart crashes the glass, either puts it back up or kicks it out for a three, there's no better look in the NBA than those. Like you're going to get an offensive rebound. Those are the threes you want, especially when you're playing a team like Philly, who is not the best defensive team, but they are, when they're healthy and when Joel Embiid's back, they're pretty damn good themselves. So those are the looks you're going to have to capitalize on the offensive glass if you're New York. And Philly, you just have to be able to secure defensive rebounds and long rebounds because the Knicks jack up a ton of threes.
And more so than any other time of the year, little things add up big in the playoffs. And say Josh Hart does that 3 times, he gets a layup and 2 threes kicked out. I mean, that's 8 points, and that's just him by himself. And stuff like that, you got to really make sure you're accounting for the little things. But at the end of the day, like this comes down to Brunson, and it comes down to other guys as well. But I'm talking about on the New York side, but the way that he finishes off 2 feet and he stops on a dime or he takes mid ranges. I don't know how altered his shots are going to be by Embiid if Embiid's lurking around the paint. Brunson's not going in there and slapping the glass on a layup. Like he's going to put 2 feet down on the ground, float it up over his guy off a pick and roll or whatever that may be. And so I don't know if it was Zion's a bad example, but someone or a Ja, someone of that who's going in at the cup, like Embiid can wear him down, but Brunson, I feel like is not going to be as affected by Embiid as some of those guys. So I think he has a good matchup.
That's a fact. And I think about Isaiah Hartenstein and how Jalen Brunson is probably going to do a lot of working with him to kind of getting aggressive with Embiid and beat him up. And I think that could be something to look out for.
Yeah, I think the one thing is, I mean, tonight we saw Philly go with Maxey and Kyle Lowry starting. I think you can't really do that against the Knicks
No shot you do that.
because I think the Knicks, one, are bigger. But I mean, you can. I mean, I guess McBride and Jalen Brunson together is fine, but you want to go a little bit bigger against the Knicks. You want to start at maybe a guy like a Buddy Hield or someone like that, where someone that can really attack the rim a little bit more. So you can't hide Jalen Brunson, because if you're going to be able to go and you're going to throw a OG at Tyrese Maxey, which is what you should probably do, you need to be able to find a way to, as the Sixers, to not allow that. You need to put in a guy. Maybe it's even starting Nicholas Batum. Maybe it's something like that where you
Big recency bias.
no, I'm just saying, like, just for size purposes, because you can't stick a Jalen Brunson on a Tyrese Maxey and live with that matchup all series. I mean, you can, but I don't think it would go well for you. You need to be able to put size on him for someone that can attack him enough. And I know Philly doesn't really have that, but if you can have him on a Kelly Oubre, Batum, or a Tobias Harris, like that's a matchup that you feel good about if you're Philly. And then the Knicks on the flip side feel good about being able to put OG on Tyrese Maxey. So I think that's the two kind of things.
This is obviously easier said than done. And I know this kind of contradicts my point I just made about Brunson playing in space and not really getting right to the cup. But the answer for me is sending bodies at Joel and getting him in foul trouble.
Joel just doesn't get in foul trouble.
That's what I said. It's easier said than done.
True.
But you have big bodies that you should just be rotating. I know Thibodeau only goes 8 deep.
Maybe
but
7, really.
Dude, I don't know. They just got to throw bodies at him. Whether it may not be getting him in foul trouble, but at least wearing him down so that he has to take a big defensive toll rather than having all energy on offense, where he kind of coasts on defense sometimes, has weak side blocks and plays post up D, but he's not running and closing out and getting off screens and stuff. Like, you got to keep him involved on defense to kind of wear him down a little bit. He also hasn't played. Being in NBA game shape is way different than being in shape, period. And I understand he's a pro, like he'll be fine, but playing 42 minutes in playoff basketball, like with getting worn down, like you're not going to be as efficient on the offensive end. Nobody is, not just him.
Yeah, no, but I mean, on the flip side of that is, yes, you want to try and get Embiid in foul trouble, and I think if that happens, the Knicks are going to be able to dominate. And it's the same kind of thing on the other side where you want to get Joel Embiid's going to have to get their bigs in foul trouble. If you can get a moment where, because I think Joel Embiid would do solid against Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein, but if you can be able to get a Precious Achua in there, he's just too light. He's just simply too light, and you have to double, and then that allows your other guys to get open looks. But
and he's also elite at getting people in foul trouble and drawing fouls and waiting for people to get in the cookie jar, then going straight up. So,
I mean, he did it to close the game tonight. He had an and one, and then a shot that should have been that he got called on a foul on a jumper. Like, those are just the little things. Like, being able to get their size into foul trouble, I think, is going to be massive for the Sixers. And I think you just got to win the free throw game. And I think it's going to be dominated by Philly. But let's get into some key matchups here, and then we'll give you our game picks. But I think the number one thing, I kind of just already alluded to it, is I don't want to say, it's not really a matchup, but are you going to double Embiid every single time, basically? Like, if you're the Knicks, are you doubling Joel Embiid every single time? One, it keeps your bigs out of foul trouble. Two, it limits Joel Embiid's productivity. So I think that would probably be the way to go, and I would trust that you would prefer to have the other guys beat you. And, like, if you lose that way, by all means, if they put up those, like Batum tonight, if he puts up a 20 ball or a 15 or something like that come playoff time, like, those are the games you have to live with. You don't want like a top 3 player in the NBA to kill you every night. You just can't do it. So I think for the Knicks, are you going to double every time? Are you going to rip some zone? Are you going to trap the Tyrese Maxey or blitz him off screens? Like, I think there has to be a lot of doubling and physicality on the ball for the Knicks in this series.
Also, though, on the flip side, like how you just it kind of works both ways, because like someone like Embiid or maybe an Oubre, if he's down helping or whatever, like you need to hit Hardenstein and Robinson hard early and let them know, like, I'm gonna be here all night. And they're not exactly like deep playoff run guys. Just off the top of your head, I'm sure they'll have a great series and a great playoffs.
No,
but
they're
you know
super physical, but they're not like guys you're running.
Yeah, you got to have
you have to out physical them. You have to.
So maybe they come down off like a pick and roll, and Mitch Robinson has a layup. Come down on him hard and just let him know, like, I'm gonna be here all night. Make him second guess those type of looks and make him try and float some shit up or face you up. Like you gotta do it both ways.
I don't think Tibbs is going for that. I think Tibbs is definitely instilling in those guys, especially with Jalen Brunson leading. And I would say Julius Randle still having a voice and being a member of that team, definitely in the huddles. I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein or Precious Achua or Mitchell Robinson or any of those guys, any of those bigger guys would, be afraid to bump up with Embiid. I think they would have to really, impose their will. And think about the Garden. Philly's going to have to play in the Garden. So that I think
they're going to play in Philly, though. Philly is also.
I was literally about it. And, bro, it doesn't matter who you are. You take one of those shots from a 7-footer who's 280. I don't care who you are. You're going to second guess that next layup.
Indeed. Have to. Like, dude.
I'm telling you, bro, we could be talking about Jokic. Like, and it could be reversed too if he hits Embiid. If you get really hit like that, I get it, but like that shit gets in your head a little bit. Like you got to be physical both ways, and guard play has to be physical too. Like if they're running a high pick and roll, like show a quick double, get back, put an elbow in someone. Like they just have to let each other know they're here.
Yeah, no, the physicality. Whoever is more physical, which I think I would lean to the Knicks being a more physical team, is probably going to win this series. And we'll get into our game picks in 2 seconds, but I think the physicality factor is going to be really clutch. And I think what comes with the physicality is, for the Sixers part, is being able to limit the offensive glass. I've said it 100 times. The Knicks are the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. You cannot let them get on the glass. And if you limit those, when you make the Knicks a one-shot team, this team struggles a lot more than you would expect. And it's harder, it's easier said than done, no doubt. But that's got to be the main focus. And you just got to pressure the ball. But let's get into our game picks. Finn, who are you taking? How many games?
Come on.
Knicks in 7.
Slim? How many games?
5.
I think
5.
That's crazy. I think Philly's a better team, but I think the Knicks are just going to wear them down.
That's fair. I think I'm going to go Philly in 7.
I can see it.
Because 6 just doesn't feel right to me to pick Philly in. I just can't see the Knicks only winning 2 games. I just can't.
Right. I like 5.
I think as 7 goes, I think it could get to that point and the Garden's just going to be going and the Philly loses. I think this is a 7-game series, though. I think that's just where my head's at. But I'm leaning Philly. And B didn't look quite right tonight. He missed a couple bunnies where I was like, that one normally.
What I'm saying about being in game shape.
True. But I think as the series progresses, and I mean, the first 2 games are in New York, and while, yes, you would love to steal them, as long as you protect your home court in those following 2 games and you go down 0-2 and you tie it back up, you're fine. So you just got to win 1 on the road. And that's where I'm at. But that's it for the series preview. All other series previews are out. Every single other one for the Eastern Conference is already out at the time you can see this video, because we don't know who's going to win between the 8-9 play-in. So we'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.